THRCast. The Hurricane Riders broadcast.
The Hurricane Riders are James Dunderdale, Marty Perry, Rowan Gloag, Pawel Szopa, Wilson, and Tofino.
With music by Davi Mixture.
Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the inaugural THRCast podcast. This is episode number 1. Hopefully the first of many, many more to come. It's going to be an exploration. Of ocean paddling. It's going to be an exploration of kayaking in general. We're going to hopefully have lots of interesting guests. And we want to hear what you want to hear. We want to know what you want to hear. We want to know what kayaking means to you. We want to know what THR means to you. We want to know what it is you love about paddling. We want to know where it is that you're doing the type of paddling that we're into. We want you to contact us, give us feedback, let us know what we're doing right, what we're not doing so well, give us constructive criticism. We're going to try and make this thing exciting, interesting. We want you to be able to listen to this in your car when you're stuck in traffic and you're thinking about paddling. We want you to have your headphones in when you're working out at the gym and listening to us. And we want you to be out there training on the water and having your waterproof headphones and waterproof MP3 player on listening to us. We're going to have all sorts of things. It's going to be an evolving thing. Of course, this is the first one. This is exploration. Basically, the reason I'm doing this is because I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and I do believe that the medium is amazing for just connecting with people, like-minded people, and really creating an intelligent discourse on a topic that everybody's interested in. I mean, you don't have to listen to it. It's going to be free. It's always going to be free. You know, the more involved you are, the more you're going to be shaping its outcome. The more, you know, if you think you're an interesting guest that we should have on the podcast, you want to talk about paddling in your community, in your life, then we'll gladly have you on and do some cool interviews. If you're a product developer or if you're somebody who has some cool ideas on gear or technology related to kayaking, then you're going to want to get on this podcast and people are going to end up listening to it. And just because this is the first one doesn't mean people aren't going to listen to this years from now. I mean, if this podcast takes off, a lot of people are going to be listening to back editions. So I encourage you to contact me. The email is thrcast@gmail.com. There's going to be a Twitter, THRcast. So that's that. You know, this whole THR thing that we're involved in, the Hurricane Riders, it started off really informally, just a bunch of people getting together and started putting videos together and started really appealing to a certain group of paddlers out there. And I'm curious, you know, where this is going to go. And I'm curious what THR and what the Hurricane Riders means to you, because as a group there's 6 of us, and in any group there's always differences of opinion and different visions and different understanding of the situation. So we all think of the Hurricane Riders differently. We all see its potential differently, and we're all committed in different levels and different levels of commitment, different levels of interest. But I guess we're presented as a cohesive persona, and I'm curious what it is that you see, what it is that you understand as the Hurricane Riders, because that's going to help us define ourselves and see where this goes. Personally, I want it to be an inclusive thing. I want every single person who loves paddling and believes in paddling in the same way that we do to be able to get involved and feel like they're a part of the Hurricane Riders, to feel like they're a Hurricane Rider. I want to know what you guys think. So that's kind of one of the goals of this podcast, is to figure out what it is that we're doing and what it is that we're involved in. I'd like to go around the world paddling amazing places. You know some cool spots that are worthy of being paddled or that you've paddled, and we love surf, we love big water, we love all that stuff. So get in contact with us and let us know. Okay, this is Pawel Szopa, THRCast, and I've got with me Marty Perry. Marty, introduce yourself, please.
Well, we're on schedule right now. 7:22, going to Tofino, and I'm pretty pumped. And I'm Marty Perry.
Marty Perry is a French-Canadian by heritage and moved to Vancouver in what year? I can't even remember, but...
2006, 2007, fresh from the Yukon.
And you were mushing up there with sled dogs and sleds and all that?
Yeah, those were the days where I used to love dogs. And I still love dogs. Just for PETA, if you're listening right now.
I heard that PETA put up a porn site recently. Have you seen it? I'm not even joking. Apparently it's like their new advertising policy or something. They put together a nude porn site dedicated to animals' rights, I guess. I haven't seen it, but I got to check it out.
I was always a huge animal rights activist, and when I started realizing Greenpeace changed their policy for the fur trade and all that to keep the Inuit culture relevant and all those kind of cultures, I started having a shift on how I perceive the whole animal cruelty thing, and I kind of started realizing I think it's actually a cultural thing, not so much we're hurting animals. By the way, I started eating meat about 4 months ago after 15 years of being a vegan, so I've done my work.
Well, PETA would be proud. So what was it like sleeping with the sled dogs?
Well, pretty much you'll go out on a weekender trip, 36 dogs, a couple of people from Monaco, Africa, rich Americans from California. You never know who you got. You keep them happy, and I would sleep with the dogs, and they were all tied on a tug line. So typically minus 25 to minus 40. You don't want the dogs at minus 40, but if it gets that cold, that's your situation. And I would always have Shasta, my favorite dog. She would sleep, and she would put her nose inside my sleeping bag and rest on my cheekbone. So cute.
So if you have 36 dogs and they're sleeping out in the cold, do they form like a dog pile, or do they all sleep separate?
They're all side by side. You lay down hay. They have down jackets, neck warmers, and they curl into little balls. And some of them like to have their bums or legs touching, and some others are, like females in heat, are fiercely defensive, and they'll start fighting at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Why you want to sleep with a dog, because you're there to break the fight the minute it happens. It's like having Tourette syndrome. You're sleeping, it's really cold, you can see the Milky Way, and then out of nowhere, at like 4:36 in the morning, 2 dogs fight, and it's like you have Tourette syndrome. No! Get away! No!
So I guess that was kind of good training for having a baby of your own. Because you have to wake up at the drop of a fucking hat in the middle of the night.
I never thought of it that way. I don't go in his crib and yell at him that way, or hit him on the head with a metallic bowl. But yeah, kayaker with a 1-year-old baby changes your kayaking.
How so?
Well, you could go less often, which means when you go out, it has to matter more. So ironically, this year has been a low volume year for me for kayaking, but I think for intensity, it's been still quite a productive year.
Well, we're on our way to Tofino, and we're going to Cox Bay this morning. We're trying to meet up with Rowan and some other people who are up there at a Guides Alliance exchange. Don't ask me about it. I don't really know what they're doing. But we're going after hopefully some big waves in Cox Bay. And we want to be on the water shortly after 8 a.m. Hopefully Rowan will be there.
Woke up at, it's kind of funny. Tav has always been, I call him my blood brother of surfing, because I just had this connection with Tav when I surfed. And this morning I told him, I first woke up at 4:46. And he's like, I woke up at 4:46 too the first time.
Yeah, I woke up at 4:46 because the mattress that I was on was deflated. And then as soon as I got up, we noticed that one of my dogs had a shit in the middle of the living room. So I had to go and search out all sorts of cleaning supplies, and at 4:45 in the morning, I was cleaning carpet. So that's what I did this morning.
Oh, I gotta share this. Okay, a bit of a tangent, but I woke up at 4:46 because I was having a bit of a nightmare. My dream was I was in Pavel's mansion. Pav had a mansion, and all of his guest rooms had huge fireplaces. You know, the kind of fireplace that's so big you could walk in it? They were not logs burning. They were like beech, what do you call the wood on it?
Driftwood.
Yeah, like BC driftwood-sized wood in the fireplace all over the bedroom, and every big piece, like one was right beside the bed, and it was burning. Like the house was going to catch on fire. And Tav walked in the room, and I told him, Tav, your house is going to burn down. You can't do this. And he was like, I don't care. Where's my 10-liter MSR bottle? And then we started arguing about who owned the actual bottle he had on his shoulder.
Well, that sounds pretty close to my actual dream. I wouldn't mind living in a castle with giant fireplaces, and I love huge fires. So I don't know, I guess that's a little bit of my personality coming through in your dream. Anyhow, so Tofino, it's now fall 2011, and this is my first trip this year, I think, to Pacific Rim. I hadn't been on the surf in Tofino or Ucluelet in a long time. So, there's a couple of reasons why the quality of the recording is pretty shitty. First of all, I'm recording it on my garbage LG sliding phone, and and also we are driving on the highway. So the sun has just recently come up, it's brightening up, and we're cruising, man. We're stoked to hit the surf. My boat is injured in a variety of ways. The steg has come loose. I've lost the screw that holds it in place. And I've also actually compromised the integrity of the hull in the cockpit area. I recently paddled the Bowron Lakes with a couple buddies who were in a canoe, and I took my kayak. And the funny thing about the Bowron Lakes is they weigh the canoes to make sure that the canoes don't have too much weight in them. I'm not even sure why, but I have to believe that it has to do with like preserving the trails and trying to prevent trail erosion. But they don't weigh kayaks, and I don't know why. Maybe it's an enforcement issue or whatever, but we took it upon ourselves to take all of our heavy shit and load it into my kayak. And so on the first few portages, actually the second portage, my boat was so heavy that it snagged, I dropped it, and the hull cracked. And this was like the first day of a 5-day lake circuit full of portages, lakes, rivers. Anyway, thankfully the crack didn't go through the entire hull, so I wasn't taking on water and I didn't have to patch it or anything. But I haven't fixed it since. So got a loose skeg, cracked in the boat. It takes on water through the skeg box. This is an old injury from Skook. Anyhow, I got some fixing to do, but I'm worried. I don't want my boat to break in half while I'm surfing today, so that's my biggest fear. So Marty was telling me earlier that his boat is also fucked up slightly, so I'll let him tell you about that.
I actually really want to tell the story right now, so you caught me at a good time. So, went down with Northern California to do a family trip, surfing trip for myself personally, extracting myself from the family by going surfing on a daily basis, as much as I can at least. And went to surf Mavericks in the summer. And I'll tell you right now, Mavericks is flat in the summer. So save yourself the 14.5-hour drive and, $200 in gas. December's time to go there to dive. And I went to Montara Beach in Half Moon Bay. It's actually, you could almost see Mavericks from there if you had, X-ray vision. And I now know that Montara Beach is known as a dumpy surf. Even any surfer standard is carnage for surfers. So I was in there with my sea kayak, Romani modified, with a modified, rocker modified hull.
Well, yeah, if you haven't seen or heard about Marty's modifications to the Romani, basically he cut the bottom stern and bottom bow knife edges out of the boat, basically removed the whole skeg and the skeg box and the skeg system, and also did so in the front so that, I guess, his keel line has been shortened by probably about 2 feet on the boat, which gives him quite a bit more rocker and quite a bit more maneuverability, and really transformed the Romani surf into a much more maneuverable surf boat. But I can't imagine it helped him with any tracking or tripping, but it's definitely now a dedicated surf boat.
So yeah, the waves are actually quite intimidating. You had the left curls or right curls, everything was there. Extremely surfable terrain. Had to tear up those wave walls not to get just macerated back to the surf. So it was almost impenetrable surf break. But once you got through, you were in the green room. Things were good. And I was a little intimidated, there's sharks. I was alone, feeling, stay-at-home dad. I'm having a bit of a rough year. So I had some wicked, explosive, high-speed surfs. And with the new boat, the performance was just off the deck amazing. And my confidence built, and I was like, you know what? The rogues are coming in every number 8 or so. I went into the meet, and I just waited for the biggest waves of the day to come. And just when I got there, I could see the 3-4 towers coming my way. And I was like, I'm catching number 1. I usually like number 2, number 3. I find that they're more surfable. Caught number 1, late drop-in. And that was the beginning of an experience that is a story now for me. My boat ended up immediately inverted. I think it was a 17-foot high wave face that plunged on my hull. My boat cracked open in 3 places, and just before it broke in 2, my foot pedals, my feet had moved down by about 20 centimeters because my legs were bending backwards, and as if I was going to get pinned. And just before my boat actually snapped in 2, it bounced back to normal, and I That was a rough ride, by the way. It was one of my roughest rides ever.
That's terrifying, man. That's like one of my worst fears, is to have a boat fold on you while you're in it. I mean, your legs are all jammed in there, and like if your cockpit were to break or fold on you, it's like we're talking serious knee joint injuries, broken bones, femurs, who knows? Like this could be like almost like a life-ending experience. I mean, try and like roll up or swim or anything if your boat breaks on you, and you're probably a dead man if that happens.
Well, I was a bit nervous for the reason being that the hull, this is a fiberglass boat, was leaning against the back of my knees and pushing hard as if I was waiting at a lineup in a pub and somebody was pushing me hard from behind. It was just a firm, hard, constant push, and I knew my boat was inverting. And the reason I'm worried about kayaks snapping in two is because we have fiberglass coamings, and we, the THR, we use very tight whitewater kayaking skirts. So to get out of our boats is not always a one-hand thing. It could be it's just not easy to get out of our boats. So if your coaming is stuck around your skirt still, and your boat is in two pieces, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to disconnect from your kayak within 30, 40, 60 seconds. There's always that chance that you'll be kind of glued to it.
Well, there's something to be said about confidence in your equipment and confidence in the durability and strength and integrity of your kayak. And fortunately, with the Romany surfs that we have, be it for reasons of the way that they're constructed or for reasons of how much, damage we've put on them over the years, I don't have that confidence in my boat. I'm scared, man. I'm kind of worried about it. What about you?
Wow. I think we're doing the equivalent of when those guys do Class 5 rapids in China in their Kevlar boats. It's huge water in kind of new design, innovative kayaks, and you're just hoping your boat's going to hold. Because we're doing stuff in fiberglass boats that should be done in plastic boats.
Yeah, you want to have that confidence that your boat's not going to break on you. I mean, as far as weight issue goes, traditionally kayakers are concerned about how heavy their boat is, how much weight you're going to be pulling around. You want to have like this nice eggshell light boat that goes really fast and tracks well. Well, for our purposes, I would trade that in for a ultra durable heavy ass boat any day. And Rowan will tell you, Rowan used to have Tough Lamb Gulfstream by Current Designs, and he loved that thing. Felt like it was indestructible. I'll talk to him about it on the podcast as well, just to tell his story about that boat. But I'm definitely looking for a boat that can treat me a little bit better, a little bit tougher, and I got some boats in mind.
Remember to ask Rowan about how that boat got stolen.
Yeah, well, that's going to be part of the story, I'm sure. So, Marty, if you guys don't already know, Marty is the producer and editor of White Sea Magazine. White Sea Magazine is an online magazine dedicated to sea, surf, and mountain.
Ocean, river, mountain.
Ocean, river, mountain. So why don't you just talk about White Sea Magazine for a bit, for anybody who doesn't know anything about it already, so it's just like right from the frickin' get-go.
Well, first of all, we just launched October 1st issue yesterday, the second ever issue of White Sea Mag. It's big. It's twice the size of our first issue, and I need staff. We're looking good. Now, I would like my secretary to work in I like those really tight mini skirts, like, the blue shiny ones. I like blonde, but I do really enjoy curly red head.
So Marty needs some help, clearly. So White Sea Magazine is free online, and can people still see the first first issue?
See, this is the beauty. Save your money, buy gear. That's my slogan. You go online, on your podcast, on your smartphone, on your iPad, on your laptop, and you just go White Sea Magazine or Google White Sea. You'll find us. And you have the older issues are in the archives. The current issue is the first thing you see. We are a multimedia magazine, so every issue has 2 to 3 videos per issue. So it's very eye-candy oriented, and it's all free. You can print it if you want.
Sounds pretty sweet, yeah. It's, so far from my experience checking it out, there's all sorts of kayakers. We're talking about top-notch, world-class paddlers in the river arena, in the ocean arena. We've got, in this episode, you've got the fastest kayaker in the world in there. You've got old classic pioneers being interviewed. THR shows up there every once in a while. It's not a THR magazine. It's dedicated to the sport, and more than that.
Well, the thing here is basically keeping you happy, entertainment. So every story is a front pager. And when you are interviewed for the mag and you're in the mag, you're basically celebrated. We want you in there. We want you to be the front page. So I'm very motivated because for everybody that just gets to be in the mag, for them, it's just a great treat. They're featured, they're good. There is no numbered pattern to the magazine. So the first page or the last page looks and feels the same. You could randomly look at the magazine and it will make sense as you browse through it. So that's the beauty of it. It's a little bit like being in a magazine shop and going through all the magazines like Muscle Car, Road and whatever, and all those other magazines on these, the upper shelf, those higher ones that are hard to access.
Yeah, okay. So we've just passed the junction, and we're on our way to Cox Bay, and we've contacted Rowan and James by text message at Cox Bay. It's 8:06. We just passed the sign that has the wave hazard levels on it. There's 3 levels. I think it's low, moderate, and extreme, and the marker's on extreme. So hopefully we'll see some good waves today. Cox Bay in the Pacific Rim National Park is typically where the largest surf is. My favorite beach by far. I think Marty likes it too.
Oh yeah, Cox is a great place to break equipment. It's an expensive surf area.
So yeah, I've watched Marty break a paddle there before. I've broken a paddle on Chesterman Beach, which is kind of a little bit more north of Cox Bay, and it's definitely not fun when you break paddles, especially when they're $400 carbon fiber, super fragile little bastards. So anyhow, hopefully we'll have no gear problems and no injuries today, and we're going to have giant surf and dope surf sessions, and it'll be good to see 4 of us THRs on the fucking surf together surfing. I'm stoked. It's been a while.
Yeah, going to be sharing waves with your buddies is a pretty memorable moment.
So we'll check in later. Ciao.
So, welcome back to THRCast. We are sitting on Cox Bay, and we've run into James Dunderdale and David McCoven. And Rowan Gloag has gone back to teaching a rock gardening course down, where is he, in Euclid? So, James Dunderdale, introduce yourself, please.
Yo, my name is James Dunderdale. That's my name. I'm sitting in Cox Bay. Beautiful. Overcast, October 1st. 2 shirts on, not too cold. 6 to 7 footers, clean, no wind. Perfect day.
James just hooked me up with his little kit, and with his kit I'm going to be able to tuck tape my fucked up rudder. You might even have some spare hardware to screw in the skeg box. And what else did you have? Oh, he's got an Allen key set and all that. So this is Mr. Frickin' Preparedness.
You too could own an NDK, nearly dependable kayak.
So we've had some problems with our boats. David McCoven, introduce yourself.
I'm David McCoven. I'll be your film extraordinaire for today. If you want to see the footage, check out White Sea Magazine. I've heard something about that one. Footage will be with White Sea Magazine. Enjoy.
I doubt our footage will be good enough to be in White Sea Magazine. But you might see it on YouTube or something like that.
They're like, I'd say they're like 12 footers out there coming into the big ones.
Yeah, when there's a good one, right? Like, it's hard to see from where we are, but once you're out there, it's a little better.
Paddlers are disappearing pretty good out there. You can see this guy out here. He's barely even visible. He's kind of out to the left. Coming up to the top of the crest right now. There's 2 surfers out there.
Yeah, but surfers sit in the water probably like 2 or 3 feet out, so I don't know. We'll see. We're going to do a safety meeting before we get out there. Make sure everything is kosher, you know. A-okay. Absolutely, safety first.
Safety first.
We'll be right back.
Dude, some of those are fucking quite big.
No, we're good, man. You know what? At least we're going to be able to punch through. Unlike 20...
That is a 6-foot wave over there. I saw that surfer surf down into the trough, and it was over his head.
Hav and I were eating military food the whole trip. I got a shaved head right now with a beard. I look a little bit like an Afghanistan military guy in a Toyota truck. So my code name for our military dirtbag kayaking trip, I'm Quasar, and Pavel is Forrest Tucker from Texas.
Absolutely. So I brought military food from San Antonio, Texas. It's shocking. We haven't opened the package yet, but just looking at the packages, it's kind of scary. Yeah, it's either like this olive green or like a nutty brown kind of color. All plasticized. It looks like it's like assembly line food. And it has like the most extravagant titles for all the food inside. Like there's like chicken pesto pasta. But really, it's just this little orange, flat, plastic bag.
No, we're going to make it sound so appetizing. Potatoes and
pork rib, hash browns.
The size of a credit
card. It's got like vegetarian lasagna. What else do we have in?
Wild blackberry jam.
Yeah, we got blackberry jam, strawberry jam. We've got
they have the
wild rice pilaf, Mexican rice.
Explain how you make electrolyte juice. Okay, they say prior to making juice, let water stand in chemical deactivator for at least 30 minutes before mixing in lemon juice, electrolyte, liquid juice, whatever.
Yeah, it sounds delicious. So the backstory of this is I was on the Bowen Lakes, and there's a river section there, and that river section, for people who are just kind of freestyle canoeing and don't know rivers, it claims casualties all the time, and there's corpse canoes littered all over the shoreline of this river and at the base. And I photographed probably 6 to 10 corpse canoes on that one river section. And halfway down the river section, there was some debris, colorful debris, in some strainers on the side of the river. And because I was in my kayak, I maneuvered in there, got out of my boat, and rescued a dry bag full of military food and a brand new set of portage wheels. Somebody came on this trip and bought brand new wheels and lost them on the river, on the trip.
Dude,
and I have them.
I know that river. I've done it about 4 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've done the Bowen Lakes twice, and one time the father of the family I was going with, his kids didn't want to run it. They were scared. So he and I took the canoe down, then jogged the whole way back, and took the next canoe down, and we started ferrying them through. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, we actually met some people that were on the Don Lakes that said they had rescued somebody who was hypothermic. This was like 4 years previous, and that person's partner had died of hypothermia on that trip.
On that?
Yeah. So they like capsized, they were lost, and they're like, no, it was on one of the lakes just past the river. It was on Sandy Lake or. Yeah.
It's not the one, there's one area where you go into a lake and then you go behind into the smallest secluded lake to camp, and it's not far from a waterfall area.
Yeah.
It could be around there because if you go, and I know this because we did,
right.
If you go under the Don't Go Past This Point area, the current is pretty strong.
Did you see the waterfall?
Oh yeah, because we went down a ways, but pulled over, walked and went around and looked at the waterfall.
That waterfall is huge, and it rages.
Yeah, and the water.
Holy smoke!
It's pretty strong current. You got to fight a current like a few knots.
Yeah.
Probably 3 knots coming at you. You got to fight that up the river, and not for beginners.
No, that whole trip actually is not for beginners. If you want to test yourself, I think it's a good place to go. We're talking about, like, it would make a good stag, with a bunch of yahoos, and just see who dies on the trip.
Oh, man. That sounds like a bad B-movie. But I've done that trip a few times, and I love it. I'd do it again anytime.
Yeah, crazy.
I did it Quest when I was 15.
I was thinking it would make a good test of manhood for, like, teenagers.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you could do it solo or you could do it with a team. Either way, there's challenges, but you just make it around and try and get a good time and be safe and not die.
You know what? And if you're doing that, there's a guy who runs a company. He knows that system by like the back of his hand. A guy named Dean Hull has a canoe company. So people need somebody to go with to keep them safe or for the youth. He's your man.
Yeah, I was thinking it would be cool just to have like waypoint campground sites like planned out for night 1, night 2, night 3, night 4. And then the teams just like get there however the fuck you want. You can go solo, you can go whenever, but be here by dinner time. You'll get fed, otherwise we're going to try and figure out how to get you, radios, blah, 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 whatever kind of thing.
Well, we should just take the THR.
And then just like teams just going.
You got to have some safety there, but you could sit back and be the ghost mode and go, hey, it's up to you guys. I'm not saying a word until it's dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, you could totally have like a sweet guide and a lead guide. And then just be like, okay, first person who gets up and wants to go, lead will go with you. Last group that goes, sweet goes with you. Yeah. And then in between like radio contact and just make them do all the work. Just be there as safety. Like feed yourselves, fucking, you know, don't do stupid shit with bears and grizzly bear safety and fucking.
Yeah, you gotta train them and give them the skills and knowledge and then set them to it. Yeah, it'd be good.
You run a company that could pull this off, couldn't it?
I
might specialize in something.
I could, but I'm more of a family. Like I would take a family of maybe athletic parents who have kids who are 9 to 12 years old, and they need some help doing that sort of trip, and maybe they don't know how to canoe or paddle, but they like, the usual downtown Vancouverite, maybe they're in a running club or something, take those people out. But we could do as a side thing, youth.
Yeah. I think youth need that these days.
Totally. I agree, 100%. It's and there are programs out there for that. Well, Outward Bound is one of them. But we could do some trips like that. I think the Bound Lakes is great for it.
What would you call a program like that? It would have to be kind of like a leadership program of some sort, or leadership course, or leadership trip.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's also an award that you can get for doing sort of outdoorsy things. James knows about it. It's some sort of British-sounding award, and kids have to do trips like this. So taking them out and giving them the training to be the leaders in the outdoors, they could also go towards this prestigious credit they can get.
I like it. Let's do it. Let's propose it to James.
No, what was that? What's that award that teenagers are? Yeah, Duke of Edinburgh. That's the type of stuff you could train for as well.
What's the Duke of Edinburgh? I don't know too much about it yet, but it's an award that people, I think between the ages of 15 and 25, who want to get this award. It's one of those things that is considered an achievement, something for youth to strive towards. And it has different components to it, some of which is community support, others is doing some sort of athletic endeavor, and they're supposed to do a backcountry style tour, I think 2 of them, as part of this award. So giving them the training and skills to go and camp and to monitor safety and all the things you need to do to complete a trip at the Barron Lakes is the type of stuff that these kids would really help them in terms of lessons in life.
Yeah, a lot of it translates, doesn't it, from that kind of environment to real life, daily life, city life even.
Yeah. So you're teaching a teenager how to take care of themselves, and it's tough at that age because their minds are moving at 100 miles a minute and everything's about having fun. And it's tough lessons when your jacket's wet because you didn't take care of it. But sometimes you got to learn those lessons experientially.
I'm going to pass this microphone over to somebody around here, and they're going to introduce themselves and talk some shit. So we got somebody here named Rowan Gloag, and Rowan Gloag is sitting in front of a fire, and he was doing some kind of frickin' rock gardening today.
Afternoon, evening. Rowan Gloag. I think I'm on day 28 of work. It rained a lot this month. Today I went rock gardening in Yuki. I've been rock gardening here all week, and holes in my boat and holes in my hand to prove it. My left hand's infected, and I've been dealing with that. That's pretty good. Plan on waking up in the morning at a reasonable hour and go surfing with these guys, hopefully. Probably Cox Bay.
Hopefully there's some good waves.
Yeah, I don't really care if there's good waves. Yeah. That's pretty much all there is to say about me. I'm going home tomorrow. I'm pretty excited.
Tell the story of when your Gulf Stream got stolen.
All right. The stolen Gulf Stream story. Well, it's got to start with a blue tank top and a pair of board shorts and an absolute hate for certification. In 2001, I was told I had to take a CRCA course and get certified as an instructor. And I was like, I'm already certified. It's just another governing body trying to certify people. And I paddled skeg boats at the time, which was a Gulf Stream, which was the only reason why I paddled it is because nobody else in the shop would paddle it because it didn't have a rudder. And I was going to take this course, and I decided that I didn't care what anyone thought. I'm going to paddle this boat, the course, because I liked it. It was a good boat. And then Michael Party and Gary Dorian show up from Victoria in Deep Cove with 2 Gulf Streams. And I'm like, wow, there's other people that paddle these boats. So they get dressed up in their dry suits for Deep Cove in May. It's pretty warm. And we head out.
They're in their dry suits, tow systems, helmets, neoprene gloves, Warner paddles. And I'm in a Gulfstream with a rental skirt and a rental BFD and a baby blue cotton tank top on. And I'm like, these guys are overdressed. And about 8 hours later, I realized that I had no idea what I knew about sea kayaking, and that I had to completely change everything. And it was at Twin Islands when I finally realized, I was like, wow, these guys are great paddlers. I'm not, and I need to really step it up. So shortly thereafter, I asked Bob, well, I told Bob I wanted to buy a boat, and he said he'd buy it for me, which is pretty ridiculous. And so he bought me, my first Gulfstream was in 2001, and I had it for a long time, and I lent it to a friend. And I clearly remember the conversation. I was like, well, are you going to lock it up? She's like, yeah, I'm going to lock it up. Don't worry, I have a good lock.
It was locked.
It was a good lock. It was a pair of snow chains for your tires for when you're driving the snow, which could be easily clipped they could easily be clipped by a Leatherman, chain cutters, or probably nail cutters. And that was the last time I saw that boat. Whoever stole it is definitely in for a treat, because that thing was worked over. But anyways, to continue the story and share her side of the story, ladies and gentlemen, Megan Baker.
Megan Baker.
You should see the lock on my kayak now.
You should see the lock.
Yeah, it's bomb-proof. It's pretty amazing.
Where in Europe are you from? That's a good accent.
Australia.
Yeah, a little place called Australia. From one of the southern continents.
Australia?
Yeah. Oz. That's it.
Yeah, so tell me the story about when you walked up the car in the morning and it's gone.
Oh, man. I don't want to relive that. So I was on Commercial Drive on Salisbury, and I was going to a meeting with Rowan, actually, that very morning. We were discussing agendas in a lengthy way, and I came around the corner, and I saw my car with no kayak on top of it, and I saw the chain was actually gone. The straps had been cut and were just hanging there, and my stomach just dropped. And then I called Rowan in a panic, and he didn't believe me.
The front door.
He didn't believe me.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't want to.
I know. And that was that.
That was my baby right there.
Wow, you still got some money out of it.
It was yellow.
Yeah, it's all good.
How about that story when we were out to downtown?
Okay, so I had just started working for Deep Cove, and we went to Skook and Shark for the start of the season. So we'd been there, I don't know, it felt like a couple of hours. We were just like getting set up and stuff, and I see Marty and Ro and Dunder in the van backing down the driveway, so I go running up. I'm really excited, like, you guys going to town? They're like, yeah, we're going to town. Jump in. So I jump in the van, and 200 meters later we stop. Everyone gets out. And Marty starts giving me a tour of town. So, showing me where things are. And this includes the local brothel with a prostitute standing on the balcony who overheard everything.
Where the fuck is the brothel?
There was this
It was just the hotel.
He's smoking a cigarette with her front arms crossed, blonde, heavy makeup.
Because he said, this is the brothel. And clearly, here's a prostitute. And you, point right at her, and she's looking down at us. And then she had that little dog, remember? And it had some kind of mental disorder.
I told Megan, hey, we're going downtown. Do you want ice cream? She gets in the van. She says, ice cream?
And then we pulled up to the brothel. Oh, man, that was so funny. And that dog that ate aluminium. Aluminium! Oh, God, that was so funny.
Oh, the whole purpose of going to
Yeah, and that was my introduction to Deep Cove. Yeah, spaghetti.
That was the intro.
Yep, that was my intro. That's it.
So coming back from Cox Bay, no, we didn't go to Cox today. We were at Wickeninish Beach. The surf was pretty small today, but yesterday at Cox Bay it was decent. It was awesome actually. Big ass waves, big surf. Getting out past the break was tough at times. I definitely drank some salt water. Thunder and myself and Marty were out there. Rowan showed up afterwards, after he was done teaching, and he did some filming and some shooting of pics. Today, at Wickeninish, I had a nice slow start, had some breakfast, and all the boys and a whole bunch of other paddlers were out there enjoying the beginning of the day, and then I went out after Rowan and Marty got off. James got off as well. Did a little bit of surfing with two guys, Ben and Bill, and there's a lot of back surfing, because when the waves are small, that's kind of what I try to do, make it a little bit more exciting. So probably need a reflection soon so that I can start back surfing better. So I gotta modify that boat, gotta take it to Buckmuller, get your boat fixed, get your boat modified. That's about all I got to say right now.
You've been listening to the Hurricane Riders Podcast, Episode 1. Join the conversation at THRCast at gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at THRCast or like our Facebook page. This episode has been brought to you by White Sea Magazine. Check out White Sea Magazine at whiteseamag.com.
Open your eyes, 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 open your eyes.